Have you ever wished that you had a master floral designer that you could have stand beside you step by step and teach you the process of floral design? My name is Kirby Holt. I'm a master floral designer with more than 25 years of experience in the business, and I want to show you step by step how to create beautiful floral designs with the kits from myfloraldesign.com. I hope you enjoy this video and this series. All right, I have a new arrangement for you today that is one of my favorites. It features this oversized dandelion, and I think that is just one of the most interesting products that I've come across in a long time. I love the way, the simplicity of it reminds me of childhood and getting them in the lawn and picking them and blowing them, and just a lot of nice memories associated with dandelions. So I love the transparency of it. I love the neutral color of it because this arrangement will work in almost any room as far as colors. So there are a lot of really good things to be said about this arrangement we're doing today. To start off, I'm going to use the very tallest, and you can see that these really are oversized flowers, and I'm going to strip away about the bottom 4 inches of plastic and the paper coating on that wire. It doesn't all have to come off. I just want to get it down, especially that plastic is a little bit loose, and so in order to get this to be a really tight insertion into the foam, you can see that we have the styrofoam there, a little bit of moss covering for you, and by putting that hairpin hook right on the end, it really locks that stem in. You don't even have to worry about hot glue because that stem is really in there good now with that hairpin on the end of it. So that is the tallest of the 3. I'm going to do the next height, and these probably will come out of the box with just a little bit of a bend to their neck, so just real gently straighten that just a little bit, but we want to give it a little bit of a curve because in nature nothing is perfectly straight. Now you can see that I, in pulling, have pulled that leaf out, but it's real easy. Just insert it right back in. It'll fit in tightly right where it came out. Again, I'm going to strip away that bottom 3 or 4 inches of plastic, and if we get some of the paper off, it's okay. Just kind of that roughness of the paper on that wire really helps make that stem grab down inside the styrofoam and stay where it's supposed to stay. Then you can use that plier just to facilitate bending the wire if it's a little bit hard. And I'm going to go just to the outside of that one just a little bit. And as I've said, if you've watched these videos before, you know that nothing is completely straight in nature. Everything has a little bit of a bend or a twist. So I will usually make sure that even if I want them straight, that we put just a little bit of a bend in there so that it really mimics nature. Be very gradual and gentle in these bends so that we don't get a hard curve. You want it just to be a real soft curve. Now on this third one, again, about 4 inches stripped off at the bottom. The main thing we want to do is get down to that paper covered wire, get that hook in, and I'm just going to come to the other side, straighten most of that out. You can see already that the form has come together. It's going to make a very, very elegant floral design. And most of what we're doing now will just be finishing off the bottom of this and creating a balance at the bottom for what we've done up at the top. The first thing I'm going to do is insert this staghorn fern, and at the very tip of that, it's real soft. There's no wire in it, so I want to just take and trim that away until I get to where there's wire, because that real soft tip will not break into the styrofoam. So now I've got that stem where it will push right into that styrofoam the way I need it to. Another thing that you might do is just check the little rubber kind of mushroom looking part of the plant. Sometimes that rubber, the glue doesn't stick extremely well, and you may need to take your glue gun and just put a dab of glue and tighten that down. I've already done that here, but sometimes when working with things made of rubber, rubber looks really good, it looks really natural, but sometimes it doesn't hold to glue extremely well. So if that's an issue, it's real easy to fix that with your glue gun. Now once I've made that insertion in, I'm going to fluff these leaves out and kind of open that staghorn fern up just into the corner of the arrangement and fill in this whole side of the planter at the base of the dandelions with this staghorn fern. And having done that, now I want to come, I've got 2 grapevine balls or vine balls that are wired, and we're just going to take those and attach them right here beside the dandelion. And I want one a little bit taller than the other one. You see that creates just a little bit of interest right there at the base on the side. Now we have 3 different kinds of foliage bushes that I'm going to cut up. The first one being this one that's kind of the flat, ruffly leaf. I'm going to cut those into, I think there's 6 different, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 7 different stems on there. And we're really just going to continue all the way around, the goal being to just green in this base. So what I want to do with this material is put half of it going one way and half going the other way, so the line kind of goes all the way through the center of the arrangement. Let me turn this so you can see. This is actually the back of it, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm turning those so that they all flow in the same direction. So we have 3 pieces on that side. I'm going to bring one kind of up in the center of the back and see how 2 are going up and 2 are going down. I'm just going to swivel those, pivot those a little bit on that wire stem so that they're all on the same side and the curve is all going the same way. I can even push that up just a little bit, cut a little bit of that off and lay that so it just kind of flows out the side of the planter. Got just a couple more of those we're going to continue to do the same thing with. I hope you're enjoying these videos. We have a good collection of them on our website, myfloraldesign.com, and also on our channel on YouTube, My Floral Design. So if this is your first one, I hope you're enjoying it. And if you're a regular viewer, thank you for your participation. Hope you're ordering kits and enjoying making flower arrangements. One of the things that I've tried to do with this is make it simple so that you don't have to go into the craft store, the big box store, and stand there trying to figure out what works together, what goes together, what is it going to look like when I get finished. Take that mystery out of it, give you a product that when you begin, you know what it's going to look like at the end. And there's no waste. Sometimes when you do your own projects, you'll find that you have a lot of things left over and you don't know how to use them. With these, everything is planned so that you don't end up with paying for things that you can't use at the end. So hopefully that's working well for you. Now I'm going to take this, the next little bush. It's a eucalyptus bush. I'm just going to cut 2 of those off, and we're going to use those on the back. And then I'm going to take the rest of them here, cut them off, and put them on the front. Let me pivot that back around so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to fill in this front corner with this eucalyptus. So really all we're just trying to do is bring some color and texture to the bottom, front edges of this arrangement with these. And there we go. You can hear that styrofoam will kind of crackle when the stem is going in and making purchase and going in where it's supposed to there. So we just kind of create a little bit of a clustering of those there. And then I'm going to take the other ones and come in right in between those orbs. So it looks like the orbs are just kind of growing up in between that eucalyptus that I've placed there. Notice how we're putting things in kind of in groups, and that's much a way that we would do them in a landscape design, or even in a flower garden, or in nature. They would grow in clumps, and so that's kind of the way we're placing them. Now I'm taking this last bush of foliage and dissecting it up just like I did with those first ones. I'm going to take just a couple of them and divide them so that I come in just above that second set of leaves and cut that separate. And I'm going to take those 4, I'm going to spin this around so you can see the back and see what I'm doing. I'm going to use those just for some of the basic coverage. Down in low, the shorter stems go in low, and then I'm going to come above those, and I'm going to push that bottom set of leaves up just a little bit, and then I can come in, and that will kind of stand up along this back side to finish it off. Put one to the edge, one in the center. I'm going to bring another one to the other edge. And in fact, I think we may need both of these to this outer corner. Now, in order to finish this off, I want to cut up this bush of branches and create kind of a vine effect with those. We're going to swirl those around the bottom of this arrangement. In order to begin that, once I get those cut off, I again want to strip away a little bit of the plastic that's covering that so that I can effectively bend that hairpin in. Because when we do the insertions that are going to swirl, we really want to lock that stem in. And I'm going to take my finger and just reach in, and I'm going to wiggle that moss away so that I can push that directly into the styrofoam. See, that's locked in really, really tight because of that hairpin that I put in. And I'm going to take each individual wired branch and just bend and twist in kind of a swirling pattern. And what's important is that we decide which way we're going. I'm going in a clockwise direction, so they're all going to swirl in the same direction. If you wanted to go counterclockwise, it wouldn't matter as long as everything swirls in the same direction. Much like a whirlpool or a little dust demon that comes up and the wind begins to blow and get the leaves all going and the dust all going in the same direction. That's what we're trying to do here. Now I'm going to give it a half turn. I'm going to do the same thing again. Strip away a little bit of that plastic. You don't have to get it all, because there's actually 3 wires in here, and it might be a little easier if you don't get all of them separated out. But we're going to get that twist in. I'm going to come in right under the base of this orb. Again, I need to take my finger, make sure that I'm not tied up with moss, and push that in. Sometimes my hands are bigger than the holes I'm going into. There we go. All right, so I'll spin that around so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'll begin to just swivel those stems again in that clockwise pattern, following the flow. Really, this is what we call creating movement in an arrangement, when we allow some of those elements to imply that that maybe a breeze is blowing in one direction or another. It's called putting movement into the arrangement. Now I'm going to just turn that so I can see it. Yep. We'll continue to work it, and then the final thing will be to just check every element and make sure that we're happy with the way it's looking. And so far, that's looking good. All right. So let me turn that to you so you can see. Now I'm going to come in behind so that we have 5 stems. So we're going to just kind of go equally distant on all 5 of those, putting them into the arrangement. Part of the process of what I was doing, one of my leaves fell out, but at the end we'll see if we can figure out where that belongs. Now I'm going to come in again, make sure that I'm into styrofoam. You can see I'm bending it down, just bending it down a little bit so that I get the direction I want it to go. But just use those wires, twist, 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 bend, 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 and get everything going in the direction I want it to go. Some of the stems are a little bit longer. Instead of letting them angle out like that, I'll come to the end of it and really tighten that up inside so that it swirls the way I need it to swirl. Now, having kind of messed that foliage up with my hands with that insertion, I'm just going to straighten it up and make sure that everything there is kind of where I want it to be. Now I have two more, so I'm going to just kind of judge the distance that I have left here to finish putting those where I want them to be. Bend that little hairpin in. Going to go in pretty much the corner of the container here. Just continue the same step that we've already done 3 times, just continuing. This arrangement is so stately and understated. I often think elegance is understated. I think of Katharine Hepburn and Jacqueline Onassis, and their style was always so elegant but also very understated. And that's what this arrangement makes me think of. But it has a lot of ways that it could be used in the home or in a commercial application. This is, I think, a really good one for a commercial application because it works well in a space that's intended to be for men and women. It's not necessarily over feminine, but it's not necessarily over masculine. It really works well for a lot of spaces and for almost anyone. Be great on the end of a mantle, be great on a credenza, be beautiful on a standing on a column on its own in a corner. So maybe something like this instead of a plant, because it's large enough to carry off that roll and kind of anchor the corner of a space. And you can see I'm just finishing out creating that movement. I want to get a couple of those leaves in below. Once I get this one done, then we'll just kind of pick at it and make sure that everything is going and sitting where we want it to be. And the nice thing about these arrangements that are very natural, every little leaf is not going to be in place, because in nature, every little leaf is not going to be in place. So we will work to make sure that everything is where it needs to be without looking contrived. All right, I think this leaf goes right here. I found the space it went in, and we put it back in place. So there, I think, is a really beautiful planter design of dandelions and foliages, and it can be used in a lot of different ways, on a lot of different applications. Thank you for joining us, and hope you will come back to myfloraldesign.com for more instructional videos. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I encourage you to browse the library of arrangements and videos on our website, myfloraldesign.com.